afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Delta Entertainment. I am your host, Liga Kenobi. And before we get started, we'd like you guys please hit that like button and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all so much. I do appreciate it. Sorry I took a little bit long because I was busy doing my outdoor activities as I needed to do for tomorrow's people cutting the trees. But let's get to this article, shall we? All right, so we got articles that were from yesterday that I'm going to be discussing and everything. One of them is right here. Explosive leak clip confirms Sweet Baby Incorporated pressured developers to submit to narrative demands. Now, I have read articles like this for a while now, and I'm sure you guys will be familiar with it if you guys have paid attention lately. So, we have leaked footage right here, and this is from Master of the TDS and Writing Raven Gothic Therapy. So, here it is right here at this video. So, we're going to watch this video. You guys let me know what you guys think.
You've heard the sound bites.
Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
And if I can't sell them on, hey, don't do that, I can instill fear by suggesting that once it gets past us, someone else will take them down for this.
For years, Kim Belair and Sweet Baby Inc. called it branding. Cheeky, disruptive, harmless, right? But today, we're done pretending. Because now we have the receipts. A leaked clip from a real internal discussion where Sweet Baby Inc. didn't advise, they pushed. Again and again. Until the studio broke. This isn't narrative design, it's narrative domination. And this time, no spin can save them. Hello. What is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I'm joined by my lovely wife,
Writing Raven.
Welcome back to the channel.
Before we jump in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because when we say you'll want to be here for the next one, we mean it.
Today's leak isn't theory. It isn't out of context. This is Sweet Baby Inc. admitting on camera that they wore a game studio down on purpose. You know the quotes. Terrify your marketing team, instill fear. People said it was just Kim being spicy.
But this time, it's not Kim. It's Cameron Wild. Sweet Baby's narrative designer, Kim's ally, Kim's employee, and the same person who once said, "I'm here to burn it all down." Totally normal, healthy consulting energy, right?
But this time, it's not branding. It's not cheeky. In this leaked clip, Cameron admits to hammering a studio again and again and again until they caved.
Not persuaded, not enlightened, broken.
This isn't narrative guidance. This is brute force submission. And once you hear it, you'll realize this isn't an exception. It's the playbook.
Roll the clip.
Definitely there have been moments. I can think of one in particular. Don't need to get into the specifics of the game, but it was a situation where the identity of the characters was fairly important that we get it right. And in this situation, we actually had to have a more heart-to-heart, really foundational conversation about these are some of the experiences that you are necessarily going to invoke, or some of the messages that you are going to invoke, some of the implications you are going to invoke, regardless of whether you want to or not. It's not a question of like, are you doing it well, are you doing it badly? It's just, it's there. And so here are the options for how that could go. And this was a pretty, I would say, like unique situation where they were willing to take days out of their time to talk with us about it. And I think in that situation, it was, as a marginalized person, I felt making myself very vulnerable, and being brutally honest of just like, hey, I think what you're doing is not cool. And then being met with a less than optimal response to that, and then having to say it again, and then again and again. What I would take out of that, what I have taken out of that in hindsight, is know where your personal and professional limit is, choose your battles, decide as much as you can which hills you're willing to die on and which, maybe you would rather not. I think that really will serve you well, and get very specific about your priorities. Be willing to let certain things go, maybe, but that comes with experience. It's not something that I knew in the moment. I think in hindsight, I will say I wish I had been a little less vulnerable. And so that is a very valuable piece of information that I now have about myself.
Let's break this down. That wasn't hyperbole. That wasn't a joke. That wasn't taken out of context.
That was Cameron Wild describing how they kept pressing a studio again and again and again until the studio gave up.
They didn't collaborate. They didn't find middle ground. The studio just surrendered.
They even said the first response was less than optimal. So instead of respecting that, they went harder.
And when pushing didn't work fast enough, they got emotional. Not to connect, but to guilt, to manipulate.
Then Cameron said, I wish I had been less vulnerable. Not because they went too far, but because they resent needing to.
They didn't want dialogue, they wanted obedience, and they were pissed it took effort to get it.
And then came the kicker. People need to be willing to let things go. But they weren't talking about themselves, they were talking about the devs.
So let's call this what it is. Sweet Baby Inc. says they're collaborators. But when studios push back, they pressure, they push, and they break you down.
And now they've admitted it. In their own words, no spin, no plausible deniability.
So the next time Sweet Baby Inc. smiles at the camera and says,
I'm the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., which, contrary to popular belief, is not a DEI company, but a narrative development company.
remember this moment.
Because what they call help was emotional pressure. It was brute force narrative control. It was breaking down the developers until they gave in.
This confirms everything we've warned you about. The fear, the manipulation, the coercive tactics, and the industry silence that lets it thrive.
But not anymore. You've heard it. They can't walk it back. And they can't pretend we imagined it.
So share it, clip it, blow it up.
Because the louder this gets, the harder it becomes for them to hide behind that smile.
And if you work in games, ask yourself, are you telling your story or are they?
Sweet Baby doesn't do what gamers think it does?
Well, now, that's verifiably false.
And then being met with a less than optimal response to that, and then having to say it again, and then again and again, and then having to say it again, and then again and again.
There you go. The evidence is there, bro. That's the footage. Right there is your proof. Right there. There is the proof right there. I let the whole video play out so that you guys could see who they are, who is Gothic Therapy, who is Master of the TDS and Ryan Raven, and what they're all about. And if I were you guys, if you want to know more about these guys, just go over there, subscribe to them, bro, and you'll get a lot more info on these guys. These guys have done a terrific job. And I've said this for the longest time, that whatever Sweet Baby Inc. touches, whatever game franchise they touch, they will put it to ruin. And that's what they have done. And that's what they have done. And you know, it's sad, but it's true. So this is everything. So, of course, Ryan Raven is the writer for that part place. She is part of it. And like I said, this guy, he's one of he's one of Sweet Baby Inc.'s main people that tends to push studios, push developers to throw in the narrative, and it's just made it worse. So I've read throughout this thing many of times, showed it to you guys, it's evidence and everything. But with this leaked footage, I'm sure you guys will see now that what Sweet Baby King has done is that's what they're doing. And these guys have been covering it many of times. So that's going to be it for this video article. I could say that. But like I said, guys, just keep an eye on certain games and just look into it more. And if you see that Sweet Baby is involved, if you guys still want to get this game, go for it. Because look, I have bought games that were mainly from them. I'll give you an example: God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2. Yes, I have played those games. In God of War Ragnarok, they did race swap one of the Norse gods, the chick, the black girl. They did race swap. They did race swap her, but I ignored it all and everything. I kept on going with it. Now with Spider-Man 2, the story was fine. I just did not like what Miles Morales' short missions were doing. I did not like what they were doing with Miles Morales. So, like I said, guys, just keep a good eye out on them. So that's going to be it for this video. So I do appreciate you guys very much for watching this video. So please share this video, post a comment below, let me know your thoughts. And again, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for being part of the channel. And I hope to hear you guys soon. Bye, everyone.